Hello, welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
So what should we cover tonight?
Well, I thought we could talk about credit limit thresholds in enterprise and how they work. If you can explain that.
Yep. First of all, it's set up on the customer.
Okay.
So you can set each account up uniquely. Basically, in simplistic terms, it's just a way for you to put a number of days past due, and it's looking at invoices in AR.
Okay.
So if there's any invoice going beyond that time period, the system is going to see the customer as on hold, and the evaluation's made when the order is saved and when the shipment is processed.
Okay.
So at any time an order's being saved, it's going to look and see if there's any invoices outstanding and if it exceeds the number of days in the threshold. Same thing in the shipments.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Can we take a look at that? How
Yep.
it's set up?
Absolutely. So if I look at, I'll just open up accounts receivable and we'll look at the customer setup. Specifically, this account here. If I click edit, and on the defaults tab, on the miscellaneous tab, you'll notice there's a credit limit threshold here, and it's, like I said, it's in number of days.
Okay.
So I have it set up here at 45 days. You can still set up a terms code, so if you want the invoices to be due, say 30 days, net 30. When you print the invoice, it'll still show net 30. But you can set up the threshold here at 45 days, which will be when they're put on hold, for lack of a better word.
So they have 15 days.
Yeah, grace
until
period,
they go
if
on
you will.
hold.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. So the invoice would print out due 30 days, but this would be when they put on hold.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So what happens now then when they go to place an order and it's past the 45 days?
They'll actually see a message that says, credit hold, and then just like the enterprise works now, you'll have the ability to put in your user ID and password. If you have privilege to override the credit hold, you'll be able to do that.
Okay.
We can actually take a look at what would happen.
Great.
Okay. So if I cancel out of here, and I'll go into order entry, it works on, I'm going to keep it simple and just make a new job. So if I were to just copy this, okay, this is the account we were looking at. So if I were to save this order, okay, this is the screen that's going to come up. And it's basically telling us the customer's on credit hold.
Okay.
Okay, and again, if you have user rights to override the hold, you can put in your user ID and password, and that'll let you override. Or if you're a supervisor, of course, you'd be able to, irregardless.
Okay.
Okay.
So if this is an order, maybe I want to save, in this case, this particular order, even though I'm on credit hold, I could just go ahead and put the user ID and password in?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And what is the daily override code that pops up?
That's if you don't have privilege to override the code.
Okay.
But accounting for, wants to let you override it. Maybe it's a CSR that doesn't have everyday rights to override every order that comes on credit hold, but maybe they want to make an exception in this case.
Okay.
So if I go back to, if we open up accounts receivable again, go back to that customer setup, there is an override code here. If I click this, it's going to give me, it's a system generated code, and it's going to work for this customer only. It will work all day long for this day, and it will reset again tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. So it's sort of meant as a one-time override for this customer.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes
And what
sense.
you could do is you could just, it's been made to be a text field, so you could copy it and then just place it right into the daily override code and hit OK. And then it's going to go through and save the order as it normally would.
Okay. And it works the same way in shipping if I go to ship something?
Exactly the same way.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, what if, how does the customer get restored back to not being on hold?
Sure. Let's look strictly at the invoices. So once the invoice that is making it over, making it be on hold, once that invoice is paid, then it will be in good order.
Okay.
Okay, and we can actually go through that. So if I'll leave this open, and we'll come back to AR. So if I just put in a receipt for Golden, it was $100. And I'll apply it to that invoice. Okay. This is going to make their balance go 0. And more importantly, it's going to make that invoice no longer be greater than 45 days old.
Okay.
Okay. So now that that invoice is posted, we can go back to order entry, and I'll just again copy. That's the right customer, and now it's going to see that there's no longer an invoice overdue.
Okay.
Okay, and it's going to let me save it.
Great.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Anything else?
No, I think you've answered all my
That's good?
questions. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you. This was another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Please look forward to more to come.